review this then. Yeah, it is a Daewoo. Don't know the model number because the sticker for it has come off. No idea what the model number is. So anyone that knows, let me know down below. But it is a San Giorgio made washing machine, which means it's made in Italy, and still is. San Giorgio is still Italian, even to, you know, still Italian made now. Anyway, this model is, I think, sort of a 2014, 2015-ish model. Again, let me know down below. I'm not 100% clued up, but it is based on the San Giorgio E3 project. So, slash the It Wash as well. Same styling and everything. Similar styling, similar programs and all that. So, for this review, I am going to be using a very similar model to go through all the programs with you. Now, one thing interesting about San Giorgio, and with it being Italian made, there are a lot of both Antonio and Maloney parts shoved together in terms of styling. It's really weird. So like this line here is Ardo Maloney. We've sort of got this flap here for your, so that is your flap. It opens a bit like a Zanussi, which were Italian years ago, and obviously behind there is your drain filter. Oh, also, if we were to look around the back, we've got an opening that's straight from an Indesit. We've got a plastic plate where the inlet goes into. Slightly different, but it's very similar to an Indesit. We've got this door. It's quite nice, actually. But very reminiscent of a Whirlpool. Oddly enough. So it's kind of like San Giorgio have kind of picked parts from like different machines and kind of made it their own over the years. I know San Giorgio is like an original company. It's been going for what, 40, 50 years. Always been making washing machines. Always very low numbers by the looks of things, since they don't seem to be very popular in Europe full stop, let alone over here. Apart from maybe Spain. So this is a door seal. Got these little grooves. How it hooks over onto the drum as well is very Whirlpool-like. So the sticker for the ratings plate would be here, except it doesn't exist anymore. I like this drum as well. It is massive. It's 8 kilo, but it's absolutely enormous. Pattern drum. These massive drum paddles. I'll double check, but I think it's something like 65 litre drum. So it's quite big for what it is. Right, on off is at the top here. You can turn it on either way. We've got all our programs listed around the dial here. We've got time delay in hours. Pressing hold won't work. Up to 23 hours. We've also got that time delay also acts as a child lock as well. Right, we've also got variable temperature around the dial here, from cold up to obviously up to 90. So we've got cold 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 and 90. And if you notice, the time also goes up with the temperature of the wash. It's also got a what seemingly seems to be an active half load. It seems to vary depending on the actual size of the load. It doesn't change how much water or how many rinses it does, but it does seem to change how long the wash is. I think that coincides with basically it getting up to temperature first. Right, we've got variable spin over here as well. So we've got variable spin of 14, 12, 1000, 800, 600 and 400. If we press it again, then we got 100. Right, and if we press it again, we get 0. Yeah. So what selecting 0 does is allows it to distribute through, it cancels all the intermediate spins and final spin. But it is interesting how it has a 100 RPM option, which is essentially just distributing. And it doesn't change the time. No. We've got option buttons here. So this button will do one of two options. Select it once and we have rinse plus. So it'll up the rinse count from, well, whatever it is, and add one more on. So on cottons, it will do 2 rinses. So rinse plus makes it 3. If I press it again, it will start flashing. And that means a rinse hold has been selected. Press it again and it switches the option off. You can't combine rinse plus and rinse hold, unfortunately. You've got to pick one or the other. The other option is a pre-wash, which will fill and heat up to 30 degrees before draining, doing a short spin and going on to the main wash. If you press it again, we have soak. So what this will do is that it will load up the water as normal, saturate the laundry correctly, heat day briefly, and then soak for half an hour. I think it tumbles every 5 minutes. So it's good for removing more stubborn stains at low temperatures. Max load for cotton, of course, is up to 8 kilo max load. Then we've got Cotton's Eco. Now, if you have the San Giorgio, it's just labelled as intensive, but this is still the standard eco cycle for both this and the San Giorgio machine. Right, so what Cotton's Eco does is run the most economical program to achieve A++++ energy. Interestingly, it goes up to 90 degrees. So, that's cold. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. Right, so what that does is reduces how much water's on the rinsers and reduces the temperature in relation to the temperature set. So if you set to 60, you'll probably wash at something like 45, something like that, for much longer. If you set it to 90, it will probably wash at 60, etc. Spin speed is preset at 1400. You can have a rinse plus, you can have rinse hold, you can have pre-wash, and you can have soak. Alright, then we've got synthetics. Max load, half a load, 4 kilogram. Does 2 rinses. And the spin speed is 600, except that's wrong. And this is really annoying on this machine. So if we press it repeatedly, it'll go up to 800 RPM. I'm going to say it's annoying because I'm going to show you later on. Right, we can also have rinse plus, we can have rinse hold, we can have pre-wash, and we can have soak options on this program. Synthetic is obviously made for washing man-made fibres. The max temperature is 60. Of course, you can have 50, we can have 40, all the way down to cold. Right, then we've got speed wash. Now, this will allow you to wash a half load of cottons that is lightly soiled in just half an hour. Right, max temperature is, well, 30 if you have the San Giorgio, but we have up to 40. Yeah, up to 40 degrees. Now, would advise it only does 1 rinse. You can, though, add on rinse plus if you want. But that's the only option you can select. Yeah, interesting, no rinse hold. Max load, half a load, 4 kilogram of cottons. And I say cottons because max spin is 1400. So it will still do a fast final spin. But word of advice, I'm probably going to say, yeah, select rinse plus. Especially if you are putting in half a load in. It's just not long enough. Then we've got delicate. Max load is not actually quite half a load. It is 3.5 kilograms. Made for washing delicate laundry. Interestingly, it doesn't count solely intermediate spins. I think all it does is just ups the amount of water in the wash and rinses. Does 3 rinses as standard. Max spin is 600. We can also add on rinse plus as well, so we can have 4 rinses instead of 3. We can have rinse hold. We can have pre-wash, and we can have soak. Right, then we've got hand wash 20. Max temperature is, yeah, it's 20. Or you can have cold. It looks like though if you do select 20, as in by selecting 30 or higher, it probably will heat to 20. However, if you have the San Giorgio, this is known as the Eco 20. That can go up to 60. Yeah. Well, according to it, anyway, because interestingly, in the manual, Eco 20, you have timings. Different timings for minimum and maximum temperature. But interestingly, despite saying it goes up to 60 in the manual, there's only a difference of 3 minutes between cold and up to 60. I think that's a typo in the, at least on the San Giorgio version. No, I do think this is designed for washing half a load of cotton laundry. It's lightly soiled quite quickly as well, in just an hour 20. Right, then we've got intensive. So what intensive is cartons with an extra rinse built in. So it'll do 3 rinses instead of 2. Max load 3.5 kilograms. This is also known as the jeans/coloured cycle on the San Giorgio. Max temperature 60 degrees. Spin speed, it's a cotton cycle up to 1400. You can have rinse plus, so you can up the rinses from 3 to 4. And you can have rinse holds, you can have pre-wash, and you can have soak. Right, then we've got the duvet cycle. Max load is 3 kilograms, which to be fair will probably take on a king size 9 tog duvet then, at that size, which isn't bad. So, what it will do is wash at a sort of medium water level, still does intermediate spins and a final spin as well. Does 2 rinses, but you can up it to obviously 3 if you want with rinse plus. You've also got no rinse hold, and you can only have soak. So rinse plus and pre-wash and soak only. Spin speed 600. Oh no, wait, it's 800. See what I mean? This is quite annoying. It doesn't default to the max spin on lower spin cycles. It seems to default to 600 if it doesn't spin at 1400 or 1200. Right. Then we've got the curtain cycle. Max load, staggeringly, 1.5 kilograms. That's surely a typo. No idea how San Giorgio worked these out, because if you had to have a 5 kilogram machine, the max load would only be half a kilogram. I'm pretty sure maths does not equate 5, because if you had to have a 10 kilogram, the max load would be 2 kilogram. Huh? Yeah, sure enough, it does a high water level, gentle wash action, no intermediate spins, and has a short spin at 600 RPM. You can add on rinse plus, rinse hold, and that's it. And max temperature is up to 40. Then we've got sportswear. Made for washing, well, sportswear. Max load is 2.5 kilogram. Does a low water level, interestingly, and a sort of longish spin at 600 RPM. I think he does it in 2 stages. Right, we've got rinse plus, we've got rinse hold, we've got pre-wash, and we've got soak options. Max temperature is up to 40. We've got shirt cycle. This is what it's designed for washing. Again, 2.5 kilograms of shirts. As you can see, it's a bit longer than the sports cycle. Spin speed is at 600. I know this will do anti-creasing in between and no intermediate spins. You can have rinse plus, you can have rinse hold, you can have soak and pre-wash. And it is quite effective, they do come out crease free. They've got the wool program, designed for washing 2.5 kilograms of wool. Yeah, a max temperature up to 40, of course. And the spin is 600. Yeah, you know what's coming, don't you? 1000. What's annoying is because you have to hit the spin speed to see what the spin speed is set at, you will automatically just hit start without realising it. And what I mean by that is, take the high sense that's right next to it here. Now that will always default to a lower spin speed for a lot of its cycles. But it will happily show you the highest spin speed that can be selected and the spin speed you're currently on at that time. Also take, say, the bush that I've had as well, with, you know, that presets at 800. But again, that allows you to select up to 1400, and it's dead visible that you can see it set at 800. And this is my annoying gripe with this machine. Why it does it, I do not know. Anyway, you can have rinse plus, you can have rinse hold, and that's the only options you can have. Right, then we've got rinse and spin. It's one final fabric softener rinse followed by a full spin at 1400 RPM. You can have rinse plus, make it 2 rinses instead. You've got spin only, again, up to full length, constant spin, up to 1400 RPM. No options, of course. Then you got drain only. Apparently it's 4 minutes, according to this Giorgio one, it's only 3 minutes. Whatever. That's just for draining out water in an emergency. Right. Just to also note, it's slightly yellowed in a really weird way, like it's still quite white on this side. Yeah, it's really hard to pick up, but you can see around about, we'll just say about here, you can see the gradual difference between white and then the yellow, but it is ever so slightly yellowed. Never mind, this is just for us at the end of the day. Don't really intend on selling this on at any point. Not yet anyway. Not for a good few years until I've recorded everything. Alright, so our detergent drawer is split into 3 compartments as per usual. We have our pre-wash section here, our main wash section here, an optional fabric softener if you wish to add it here, with a max written here. I do like this detergent drawer. It's quite old school in a way. It's got these little grates here which kind of stop the powder from kind of prematurely overflowing without it restricting the flow of water from too much. I like this as well, very, very old school. Your release is actually there and it will come out. Right, we've just poured in 25ml bowled in, so that shows you how big this compartment is. I think realistically, pre-wash takes around 200ml. The main wash takes, I think, about 350 to 400ml, and fabric softener, well, we can give it a try, shall we? But if I was to put in 25ml, yeah, not a lot there. I think fabric softener will take on around 120, 25ml. Right, what to give this out of 10 then? Well, bit of a mixed one really. It has a few flaws. We'll start off with the fact that obviously it presets that spin speed on the lower spin speed cycles to 600. That's annoying, really annoying. 2, timings. Look how long it took to do that quick cycle. Yeah, a good 20 minutes on top of the actual time it said it was going to. On the flip side of things though, there are a lot of cycles it will do happily shorter than what it says. Take the wall for example, it's not actually an hour 15 at 40, it's sort of like more like an hour 5. And plenty of the other cycles exactly the same. However, if you do load them up, say like the cotton cycle, and you load it up quite well, it can, yeah, again, take more time. It can sudslock quite easily, quite frequently, but for some reason it's very good at handling its sudzlocks. It will sudslock and then just kind of like cut out before it gets really bad, and then drain and try and just spin again, and it will do it again and again and again. And I've never actually had it cut out properly. Although it will sudslock happily on the final spin as well. What to give this out of 10 then? Well, it's got a good selection of programs and it's cheap. This was cheap even back when this was sold. Again, you can absolutely let me know down below in the comments what the actual price was, but I feel like even this was like sold for something ridiculous like £260 or £270 for an 8kg machine. Yeah, just in perspective, Hisense were also in the market right next to it at the time, and they were pretty new to the market, and they were selling their 8 kilos for more money. Quality wise, I like the motor seemingly seems to be quite reliable. I don't know reliability wise what San Giorgio is like, realistically, so it's a bit hard to say how reliable they are, what common issues are, because I have no idea. This is my first San Giorgio, and we rarely get them in the country as it is. I think the only real common issues is obviously block filters and the motor brush is wearing out. And depending on how it's used as well, the Spider probably could go quite easily, or it can last forever depending on how it's being used. So I'm not entirely sure how to rate it in that way. I do like the fact it's got a pattern drum, even as a cheap machine at the time. So that's pretty cool. I do like the actual programs you get. You get a good selection and a good quality selection. I like the duvet cycle. It goes to 60. It uses a decent amount of water. Not so much the speed wash. It's maybe half an hour on cold, but you obviously usually want a temperature, and as we found out that realistically, yeah, it's more like an hour, which is really annoying. Sportswear's fine. Shirts is quite good. Leaves stuff crease free. The wool cycle does what it says on the tin kind of thing. So it's pretty hard to kind of rate it really. I think realistically I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Until I actually know properly what its reliability is going to be like. The actual build quality is pretty good. It's nothing like all the Maloney stuff that actually came out of Italy, strangely, in that sense. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Like, it's fair game for what it is. There isn't really any proper bad issues, just really lots of annoying issues, mainly with the timer and stuff like that. Yeah, that's it. Right, thanks for watching. Give us a like. Don't forget to comment down below as well, especially if you've got any information about these Daewoos, what they were sold for over here, what the model number is for this, etc. Yeah, and I'll see you little guys in another video, so bye for now.